Barak Yahweh, Barak Yahweh Shah, Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shah, Bahashim, Bahashim. All praises, honor, glory, love, respect, faith, and power, and trust, and all credit to my Heavenly Father, Yahweh, and my Heavenly Big Brother, Yahweh Shah. Thank you so much for what you've done, what you're doing, and what you're going to do. Double honor to the apostles and elders and bishops of GMS, Great Millstone, who I learned from, and all the men scattered all over the world, teaching this truth and none but the truth in the name, spirit, and the power of Yahweh Bashim Al-Shah, trying to put a spiritual bug in you Hebrew Israelites' ears, you so-called blacks, Latinos, Hispanics, Native Americans, Seminole Indians, and you speckled birds. And what is a speckled bird? That'd be a Hebrew Israelite that look like some of the heathen nations, like for example, Hebrew Israelite that look like a so-called white person, or so-called Chinese person, etc., etc. I got some videos lined up about AI, data centers. Pretty much that's about it. But it's ultimately leaning to that beast system with the chip implant. I haven't watched any of these videos in my first time, so I'm just gonna get my first and best impression. Say whatever God say through spirit and power, Yahweh Bashim Al-Shah. So I'm not playing these videos and then say whatever God say through the spirit of power, Yahweh Bashim Al-Shah, the Holy Spirit, the Krahak Kadash, Lord willing be on me, and then plus get into the scriptures in my best ability. Let's go.
Before I begin, I think it's only fair that I disclose a conflict of interest.
And I'm not gonna play all this shit because it's 20-something minutes long. I don't even think I'm gonna play all these videos. Even the next video this chick got, it's almost, well, it's 25 minutes long. I ain't playing all that, but I'm gonna play as much as I can.
This week, I made the worst painting I have ever produced. I looked at the blank canvas with the confidence of a Silicon Valley tech bro announcing a revolutionary AI product, skipped every sensible step in the creative process, no sketch, no color study, no planning of any kind, and deployed directly to production. This was the outcome, or shall we call it a visual war crime that has now permanently lowered the property value of this room, and in that sense, it has something important in common with several billion-dollar data center projects. Both appear to have been produced under the working title LOL 2026. I have deliberately left it hanging behind me for the duration of this video, because if I'm going to spend the next 20 minutes criticizing billion-dollar strategic failures, it seems only fair that I am judged under the watchful gaze of one of my own. The people closest to me were not sufficiently upset about this monstrosity, so I'm going to need the perfect strangers of this audience to endorse my retirement from visual art. I trust you'll be honest. The comments are open. Please be brutal. As evidenced by this painting, my ego is currently as inflated as a tech valuation, and it definitely needs a pin. In this video, I'm going to cover 3 stories that, on the surface, have nothing to do with each other. A tech CEO's 20-minute meltdown on live television, a billionaire accusing the Pope of working for the Chinese Communist Party, and a wave of US politicians losing their elections because of data centers. But all 3 are symptoms of the same thing, an industry that has spent so much time selling the future that it's forgotten to notice the present falling apart behind it. And if that sounds dramatic,
Yeah.
well, so is this painting. On July 1st, Palantir CEO Alex Karp appeared on CNBC's Squawk Box to discuss his company's new partnership with NVIDIA to build AI infrastructure for the US government. That was the plan anyway. What followed...
But it may be a failure, but it does not matter. They still gonna go forward. They don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck, especially they don't care if they ruin their average people's lives. Their mission is to get people microchip. That's their mission. They don't care if they have to destroy the planet to get what they want. That's why we need the Lord, man.
Was a nearly 20-minute televised meltdown, complete with stuttering, nervous backtracking, flailing arms, and a steady supply of digression so abstruse that the host appeared genuinely concerned for his well-being. It had the distinct energy of a man trying to explain quantum physics while actively being hunted by bees. Karp was supposed to explain Palantir's deal, but instead he launched into a sprawling broadside against the entire AI industry. He called the token-based pricing models used by OpenAI and Anthropic effing insane. He said something has gone completely wrong with how AI is sold to enterprises. He called the pricing structure a wealth tax on businesses. He demanded that viewers pick up the phone and call any CEO in private, say Madman Karp is on TV saying we're livid, and see they're twice as livid as me. When the CNBC anchor interjected and said, "You sound pretty angry," Karp snapped back and said, "No, this is the voice of American business that is being channeled through me," which is a terrifying thought, because if American business sounds like that, it desperately needs a kiss on the forehead and a bit of a nap. At multiple points, he veered into whether elite universities would accept him as a professor, which is apparently an aspiration his parents still hold for him. My parents hold a similar hope for me, but I feel I'm just not old enough for that yet, considering the greatest professor of all time, other than my dad, is Professor Dumbledore, and I simply haven't mastered the facial hair required for the tenure track yet. Karp asked the host if they were off camera. They were asking him to just wrap it up, but he just kept talking. Legends say he is still talking to this day, whispering about enterprise architecture into the cold, empty void of the studio after the lights go out. Now, I have to be fair here. Buried underneath this chaos, Carr was making an argument that isn't entirely without merit. His core claim is that enterprise and government customers want to own their compute, their model weights, and their data stack, rather than renting access through API token pricing from frontier model providers. He asked, are we really going to outsource the battlefield of this country to the consensus view in Silicon Valley? He argued that companies are frustrated in private, but won't speak publicly because they fear upsetting their AI vendors. There is a kernel of something real there. Owning your own infrastructure gives you sovereignty over your data and your costs, but the practical reality is that compute is just not easy to come by. The reason companies like OpenAI and Anthropic are still operating at a loss is precisely because the infrastructure required to run frontier models is extraordinarily expensive. Not every company has the capacity to build or maintain its own data center. What CARP is essentially advocating for is either widespread adoption of open source models, which are improving but not yet at parity with closed frontier models for many use cases, or a fundamental shift in how compute is provisioned and priced. Both of—
Let me skip this part where it said, I'm glad she got this like chopped up in sections. Let me see what this part talking about, the grid.
While the tech CEOs were melting down on television and accusing religious leaders of foreign intelligence work, something quieter but arguably more significant was happening across the United States. On July 2nd, Utah State Senate President J. Stewart Adams, one of the most senior politicians in the state, lost his primary elections. Former Box Elder County Commissioner Lee Perry conceded his primary race the same day. Both had backed the Stratos Data Center project, described as one of the largest in the world, backed by Shark Tank investor Kevin O'Leary, planned near the Great Salt Lake. The project would have required up to 9 gigawatts of power. Just to put that in context, that's more electricity than the entire state of Utah currently uses, just so a few thousand people can generate hyper-realistic images of Elmo fighting Darth Vader in 4K. Priorities, everyone, please. And this is not an isolated incident, of course not. According to Data Center Watch, $64 billion worth of data center projects across the United States have been blocked or delayed by local opposition. In Cascade Locks, Oregon, voters recalled 2 port commissioners who had supported negotiations over a proposed data center. The project was subsequently canceled. In Warrenton, Virginia, all 4 council members who voted to approve an Amazon data center were voted out over 2 election cycles. In El Paso, Texas, a recall petition was filed against a city representative who voted to keep a Meta data center incentive deal. In King George County, Virginia, the board chair accused Amazon of hiring a company to dig up dirt on people and declared that the country was ready to go to war. And honestly, nothing unites local American politics quite like the shared bipartisan dream of turning an Amazon
Well, they do go to war. Be sedition among men and invading one another.
data center into a very expensive, very warm community tomato farm. The opposition is bipartisan, 55% Republican, 45% Democrat. On the left, the concerns center on environmental impact. On the right, they center on tax abatements and corporate subsidies. Both sides agree on the basic grievance. These facilities consume enormous amounts of electricity and water, drive up utility costs for residents, and are often approved without adequate public consultation. A Pew Research survey of more than 8,500 U.S. adults found that Americans are far more likely to view data centers negatively when it comes to their impact on energy bills, environmental strain, and nearby living conditions. And data centers consume an average of 1.8 liters of water per kilowatt hour of compute energy, rising to 4.3 liters in air-cooled hot regions. For communities in water-stressed areas, this is an existential concern, not just some policy abstraction. This is what the AI backlash looks like when it stops being abstract. It's no longer AI might take jobs someday. It's why is my electricity bill higher now? It's why is my water table dropping? It's why did nobody ask us before approving a facility that uses more power than our entire state? The backlash has gone physical, local, and democratic, and it's costing politicians their entire careers. Professional artists produce sketches, engineers run stress tests, urban planners conduct environmental impact assessments. I looked at a blank canvas and thought, nah, first attempt, gung-ho, no sketch, no study, no restraint, no rollback plan. Several billion-dollar data center projects appear to have followed the
I'm gonna stop right there. Yeah. They still gonna go forward with this shit. Let's get to the next video, see what this is about.
We exposed abuse and
that's kind of what we say in the documentary. It's like numbers numb. To a certain point, you're like, I can't wrap my mind around this because it is so goddamn big, and they like it that way. They like it that way. And it really is so immense. I mean, we're talking about a globalized system. This global military empire is upholding global capitalism. It is the enforcement mechanism for this economic system.
One of the reasons why the power grid is under so much strain on top of the heat is data centers, which power AI. And this is now just a new reality we have to live with. Like, oh yeah, sorry, we might have to go without power because the latest data center needed its massive power system, and with very little democratic debate. And you follow the story, and you've also followed the sort of democratic pushback, the grassroots organizing around this issue. So can you talk to us about, your sense of, how worried we should be about these data centers, their impact on the environment, and the grassroots resistance that they're facing?
Yeah, there's a multi-pronged attack by the ruling class to latch themselves onto the chaos presidency of Trump and try to drive through every single component of the ruling class agenda. And we see the technocrats winning out so much with these data center drives because they know this is their opportunity. I mean, Trump during the last year, almost in every speech, is talking about doubling the electricity grid across the US just to accommodate data centers and AI. Again, the $1.5 trillion Pentagon budget, a lot of this is going to be kind of obfuscated under war spending and lacking transparency because of that same, pretense. We're seeing millions being poured into local city council and legislatures just to like roll these out with no public input at all. When public input is heard, it's overwhelmingly disputed. I mean, people do not want these things. They're not jobs providers. They pollute the environment. They take the clean water. It's insane. It's a no-brainer. The only reason that they're happening and happening so quickly is because of Trump. And so we are seeing enormous pushback and victories all across the local level. I mean, just the capitulation from someone like Kevin O'Leary, this billionaire Shark Tank guy in Utah, who was going to come in and destroy Utah. That's literally what it would have done. It would have it would have literally altered the entire habitat around this data center. It would have been twice the size of Manhattan. But activists were able to push back and make him say no. Okay, I have to rethink this whole thing. And it just shows you we can win. We can actually win. Look at Albania. Look at all of these mass protests that are sustained, that are not backing down to billionaires who are saying, no, we're going to drive through this agenda anyway. So it's really beautiful to see. And it's kind of beautiful to see the data center fight as the new front of the fight against the war machine. I think people felt a lot of fatigue protesting Gaza under a Democratic presidency. And now they realize they can win if they channel that rage and energy into local.
Well, shit. The elite gonna have something in store where they ain't gonna have that energy to to protest. What I'm saying? They gonna cut that food supply off, and also they gonna cut off the energy, like the electricity, with the lack of fuel to burn. To run those power plants. And I guess they gonna protest about that soon. I don't know. They gonna protest against the chipping plant. I don't know, but I know one thing: that food and protest about food. They got the energy. I don't know. We're going to see. Because the data center's going to be least of the words. Hey, man. Shit. These niggas going to be, these niggas going to cut the food supply off.
Referendums and local initiatives to shut this shit down in their own communities. We've already seen half of the data centers beaten or their funding completely cut off just in the last year. And that's just increasing. The more awareness grows about this, the more that's going to happen. And I do think we need a moratorium until we figure out what the hell's going on, because the environmental impact of these is going to be monstrous.
Well, on the issue of our billionaire overlords, let's turn to one such character. I'm not sure if he's a billionaire, but certainly that's the class he serves. Alex Karp, the CEO of Palantir, the AI surveillance giant that's heavily involved with
the small hatter, baby dick sucker,
with the U.S. military. He was recently interviewed, and he gushed about how much he loves Israel.
Hi, I'm JT, and I made Result Hunter, the search engine for...
He loves Israel because he's a small hatter, Amalekite, but they're not Israelites though.
Conservatives. Let me just tell you what it does. First of all,
this is like so many things. I am the most publicly supportive CEO of Israel, and that's true. I think Israel is on the side of good. Now, in private, because I'm known there to be fair, I'm probably also the most effective critic of like, hey, I didn't agree with this, without going in. And I would be very happy to be more in public about that, except for I think not all. There are many legitimate criticisms of Israel and every other country. Although I would say, do you want a country that can sometimes be difficult as your partner, or do you want partners that have no tech scene as a partner?
I wonder how much like energy is devoted to powering AI's technology on the public dime, and it's just like, do we have who said we have to fuel this guy's evil empire? But yet it's just sort of taken at face value. But I mean, your film goes into the role of corporations. I mean, what is the carbon footprint of a Palantir, for example?
I mean, that's the thing about this topic, is that it's so hard to actually quantify because of how obfuscated it is intentionally, right? So for the longest time, the US literally would not put their carbon emissions publicly and they wouldn't even disclose the oil purchases because they were like, this is impeding our national security because it's giving.
Yeah. Well, shit. Whatever. Anyway. Let me run that back. How she said that? I'm talking about national security.
Because of how obfuscated it is intentionally, right? So for the longest time, the US literally would not put their carbon emissions publicly and they wouldn't even like disclose the oil
Yeah, 'cause this shit polluting the shit out of the atmosphere.
purchases because they were like, this is impeding our national security because it's giving information to our enemies about the scope and scale of our global military empire. And so they've actually used that as the pretense to like go after groups like Code Pink for simply talking about greening the military, bringing attention to the fact that
Alright, whatever. How the hell you green the military? Solar powered tanks and shit? Yeah, I don't know.
Hopefully, I'm annoying you as much as 10 years ago, or more.
Man, they playing this shit back again? That shit old as hell.
Pretty angry.
No, this is the voice
Oh, now this is something. Oh, yeah, this is something new.
of American business that is being channeled through me. I am the most publicly supportive CEO of Israel.
We're still on camera.
Oh yeah, well, great. That's true. And I'll tell you, we're off camera now. No, still going.
That was Palantir's CEO. Okay, that's Alex Karp. I'm sure many of you are already familiar with Alex Karp. But it turns out that some of Palantir's investors who have decided to now short Palantir stock have seen Alex Karp as a bit of a liability. And
Well, should've. Whatever. Anyway.
honestly, I think they're probably right about that. He gives people the ick, as the kids like to say. So let's get to the details here, because in a pretty extensive FT Financial Times report, they would.
I mean, he's like the Edomite that said, what he said, that we still on air? Well, good. I'm still gonna talk my shit. Yeah, he gonna tell you straight up. We gonna here to kill people. I like that kind of devil, because he'll tell you straight up. Instead of some of these devils be secrets. They always gotta keep secrets and shit.
Went out of their way to speak to 20 current and former Palantir employees, executives, investors, and also advisors. And here's what they found. Almost all supporters and critics of Palantir alike agreed on one thing. Some of the company's woes are self-inflicted. And believe it or not, the company is suffering from some woes. And we'll get into that in just a minute. Now, keep in mind that people like us, actually, we the people, the American people, happen to be Palantir's largest funders. You might be wondering, how is that possible? Well,
And now just funding the electricity bill and water bill and property taxes and all that shit. We cover for everything.
the U.S. Department of Defense has granted Palantir a total of $10 billion worth of government contracts. So there's that. Also, in the 12-month period following Trump's return to office, its revenue from federal contracts soared to nearly $2.2 billion.
Oh, for Palantir, I thought she was talking about some AI data centers and shit, but whatever.
$1 billion, a 65% increase on the previous year. The company's commercial business revenue more than doubled year on year. So, they were doing real well in the very beginning of Trump's second term. However, something did change. In the U.S., Palantir is now so radioactive that Democratic candidates have felt compelled to sell even small stakes in the group and return donations from those associated with it. Across Europe, doors once open to Palantir in London, Paris, or Zurich have been slammed firmly shut.
Yeah, these European countries don't want to deal with U.S. tech. They've been going on for a while. But still, the show must still go on. Yeah, the show must still go on. Shit. And then they're going to push them chip implants, and so it fucking doesn't matter. They go for another company instead of these people. Or Palantir.
I am the center of...
So it's not like, Palantir's failing. Whatever. Anyway, I gotta let this stupid ad go by.
of the universe. The only emperor of the galaxy.
And I love that. That is basically what you're seeing is governments reacting or responding to people who find Alex Karp repulsive, Palantir's entire mission repulsive. They don't like the surveillance. They don't like the data gathering. And there's a bit of a revolt beginning to percolate. And I don't want to oversell it because I don't personally think it's where it needs to be. But this could be the beginning of something beautiful. So Palantir, like public opinion toward Palantir, has been declining for some time now. And it's shown in how much value the company actually lost in the stock market this year. So remember,
Man, anyway, I don't think they give a flying fuck about all that shit. They about ready to lock this motherfucker down and oppress the shit out of you people. Oh, those stocks. They about to soon crash this motherfucker anyway. Because what did it say? Oh, yeah. Trump secretly prepping for AI to crash the economy. I mean, the economy ain't got... Well, does the economy have something to do with the stocks? No. But either way, hell, they all gonna crash. The economy and the stocks, all that shit gonna crash. Anyway, let's get to the next video.
Meta is on track to become the largest digital advertising company on Earth this year, overtaking Google for the first time in the history of the industry. It posted $56.3 billion in revenue in Q1 2026 alone, which is up 33% year on year, which in Silicon Valley terms apparently means congratulations, you may now behave like a municipal hazard. It has 4 billion users across Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp. That means Meta controls roughly half the planet's remaining attention span, 3 billion chaotic family group chats, and every single aunt currently sharing a minion meme about wine o'clock. It is currently sitting on what is arguably the most valuable dataset in the history of commerce, decades of behavioral signals showing what people look at, what they click, what they want, what they buy. And in the past few months, this company has contaminated a city's water supply with industrial bacteria, secretly paid hundreds of contractors to pose as teenagers and attack its competitors' AI models, been cut off from Google's AI because it couldn't build its own, and continue to fire thousands of employees while its CTO admits morale is the worst in 20 years. What's happening at Meta right now has gone beyond strategic incoherence, which I covered at length in an earlier video. This is a company actively sabotaging the ecosystem around it while failing to tend its own garden. Look, as a computer scientist, I want them to build cool things, of course. LLMs are solving structural biology and rewriting mathematics. AI is a generational miracle, but Meta is treating this paradigm-shifting technology like a teenager who just discovered Grand Theft Auto and a credit card, which incidentally was also me back in May this year when I fell in love with Trevor Phillips, and now I'm desperately waiting for November 19th to see if we're going to be reunited. In this video, I'm going to walk through how Meta poisoned a Wyoming city's water system.
I guess she a gamer.
The covert operation that had contractors pretending to be children to break competitors' chatbots, the humiliating moment Google cut Meta off from AI it couldn't build itself, and what all of this means for an industry whose own researchers are now openly terrified. Also, Aaron Brockovich, if you're watching, and I genuinely hope you are, you might want to upgrade to a CRM system because the number of communities dealing with tech industry contamination is getting a bit beyond what anyone can memorize. In early 2026, Meta's data center in Cheyenne, Wyoming was undergoing routine maintenance on its closed-loop cooling system. These systems are the circulatory system of any data center. They basically pump treated water through the facility to absorb the enormous heat generated by thousands of servers running at full capacity, then release that heat through cooling towers and recirculate the water. To keep the system clean, the water is treated with biocides and corrosion inhibitors, which are just fancy words for industrial chemicals designed to prevent bacterial growth and pipe degradation. Periodically, the system needs to be flushed, so the old water, now laden with these chemicals and whatever biological activity has survived them, is discharged into the municipal sewer system.
Man.
So that fresh water can replace it.
And I got some other videos talking about this shit. But hey, I might as well go ahead and get to the scripture. Revelation chapter 11, verse. It's a whole lot to. It's not a whole lot to read, but it's just one. It was one verse. But the point is this end. But I'm gonna start from the beginning. And the nations were angry, and thy wrath is come, and the time of the dead, that they should be judged, and that thou shouldest give reward unto to thy servants the prophets, and to the saints. Sorry, the phone is ringing. I don't want to get up and stop reading. But and to the saints, and them that fear thy name, small and great, and shouldest destroy them which destroy the earth. So the people that destroying the earth, Esau, Edom mainly, but you got other heathens too, the heathen nation. But Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, but he ain't white, he's red, he's a baby dick sucking Jewish faggot nigga, ain't eat foreskin, Amalek. He gonna be destroyed. All this shit that he's doing just to be hitting that God, we're trying to get to that godlike status. How you gonna claim you're God with your technology, but you're destroying the earth? Anyway.
It is a beautifully...
It's fucking stupid and it's pointless, but this devil is programmed to go forward with this shit and to get people microchipped.
A simple circular process until a multi-trillion-dollar tech giant decides that proper disposal protocol is a luxury they simply cannot afford. The contractor handling this process was a company called Goat Systems LLC. I don't know about you, but if I'm looking for someone to manage toxic industrial discharge, I want a name that sounds intensely clinical and slightly terrifying. The moment your biohazard contractor sounds like a...
Oh, let me pause the video. My damn speaker went out. I got to charge the battery up again.
Line in.
landscaping side hustle your uncle started in his garage, you have to ask some questions. For example, whether they also offer birthday petting zoos.
Oh man, what the fuck?
What GOAT systems discharge into Cheyenne's sewer system contained Cupravidus gilardi, which is a bacterium that is resistant to heavy metals and the very biocides used to keep cooling systems clean. So even the bacteria have better resilience engineering than the project managers. It's the kind of organism that doesn't just survive industrial environments, but also vacations in them. And when this contaminated water reached Cheyenne's water reclamation plants, it knocked 2 facilities offline. These are not drinking
Oh, so it's like can't damn process the shit.
water plants, by the way, but the city uses reclaimed water to irrigate parks, sports field, and golf courses, and the contamination created a genuine aerosol exposure risk for anyone using those public spaces. Aerosol exposure means that the bacteria could become airborne through sprinklers or water misting, potentially affecting anyone nearby and similar fun
So
activities.
they can create pestilence with this shit.
The plants were offline for months while the system was cleaned. Meta, of course, has plenty of experience keeping things offline, usually their own platforms during a bad configuration update, but now they appear to have extended their signature downtime to a city's public utility infrastructure, Slay. The Cheyenne Board of Public Utilities responded by revoking Meta's discharge privileges and suspending wastewater connections for all data centers in the area, not just Meta's. One city councilor called it a very, very unpleasant surprise. That is a heroic sentence. If my city's reclaimed water system got knocked offline by industrial bacteria, I think I would personally reach for slightly more colorful vocabulary, but that's just me, and as we already know, I prefer to express my displeasure on canvas. Now, unlike what follows in the later chapters in this video, I don't think this was malice. Nobody at Meta decided to poison Cheyenne's water on purpose. It was probably negligence. Nobody tested the discharge.
Nah, they knew this shit was gonna happen. Shit, I'm pretty sure they don't give a fuck. Look at all the other data centers. They do the same thing. Shit.
Properly before releasing it into municipal systems that serves the public. And honestly, that might actually be a little worse than malice, because malice at least implies somebody was paying attention. This was a $1 trillion company outsourcing biohazard.
Oh well, yeah. If by now if somebody had to know about it, they had to report about it. Yeah, but shit.
Waste management to a
I
contractor
don't think they're gonna fix it.
called GOAT Systems, and then apparently not checking whether the goats knew what they were doing. We were promised that AI would optimize global supply chains and cure diseases, and instead we got a heavy metal resistant superbug shutting down a golf course irrigation system because nobody thought to check the flush settings on the server farm. Truly, the future is now. Guys, filming at 30 degrees Celsius should be in the Olympics. I mean, I would lose, but at least the sport would be acknowledged. And you know, it's times like these when I recall people in the comments asking me if I'm AI, and I'm like, I wish, I really do. Anyway, this isn't happening in vacuum. Across the United States, 64 billion worth of data center projects have been blocked or delayed by local opposition. In Oregon, voters recalled 2 port commissioners who supported a proposed data center. In Virginia, all 4 council members who voted to...
I'm gonna stop right there. Yeah. Shit, just all these fuck-ups with AI data centers. And then it doesn't matter. You people still gonna suffer and they ain't gonna give a fuck. I'll get to the next one.
The AI bubble is by far the biggest stock market bubble that mankind has ever seen. And some analysts are saying it's going to go a hell of a lot higher than this before it comes crashing down.
Covering what the corporate media covers up.
The Trump administration is secretly studying what an AI bubble pop could mean for the U.S. economy. And spoiler alert, it's not good. I'm JT Siskowski with Status Coup. This report on this report comes from Notus. This is their headline. Treasury has an internal report warning about the dangers of an AI bubble. Publicly, the Trump administration is bullish about AI. Privately, some of its analysts are weighing AI against the dot-com bust. A draft report inside the Treasury Department is set to warn of the risks posed by the artificial intelligence market, likening key aspects of it to the dot-com bubble that upended the U.S. economy when it burst in the early 2000s. The document, the existence and contents of which have not been previously reported but was obtained by Notus, is a significant departure from the Trump administration's public tone, which has focused on encouraging unrelenting investment to unlock exponential growth. Because that is the neoliberal Republican playbook. It is investment, private investment above all else. Government needs to be in endless service to that private market, regardless of the dangers in which it puts the U.S. economy and, by extension, the U.S. worker. And those workers are quite exposed, though you will have to read between the lines here. And these are workers who are already exposed to the dangers posed by AI and its ability to upend the U.S. economy. Career Treasury analysts found that AI firms are more deeply entrenched in the U.S. economy than their dot-com predecessors and pose significant risk to the entire system if financial conditions change, productivity goals are missed, or various choke points stymie growth. A downturn in the AI market would send shockwaves throughout the entire economic system, the analysts wrote. And let's not sugarcoat things. There are some just behemoths of AI companies out there right now, right? If you pay attention to the stock market news at all, you will hear of this Mag 7 or Magnificent 7. These are 7 companies that really drive much of the action on the stock market and many of its gains and losses. It should not come as any surprise that many of those companies have their feet dangled in AI if they are not fully submerged in it, like companies like NVIDIA are. And there are some warnings about the size of this bubble beyond this report. This is a quote that was put in Bloomberg. The AI bubble is by far the biggest stock market bubble that mankind has ever seen, both in scale and scope, in terms of the leverage that's in there, and in terms of the sheer excessive exuberance that's driven valuations. Paul Gamble's co-founder and managing partner of MBMG Group said on Bloomberg Television, quote, "But we don't think the markets have actually thrown..."
Alright, man, this shit boring as fuck. Let's get to the next one. You want to watch the rest of it, be my guest. They go to Tidal, they go to channel. I'm sorry, but I can't hear no more of this shit. Oh, man, more talk about war. Let's see what else we got. It's all over. Oh, this is the... Oh, never mind. I know one thing, America is bumming the shit out of Iran. Perform sub. Let me see what this is about.
With Purdue Global, education fits your life.
East Lyme looking into data centers and what one would mean for that town.
Your reporter Luke Hydash covers New London County, and he's your reporter live in Niantic in that part of town with what folks are feeling about this. Luke?
Well, Kara and Brian, there are no plans right now to bring any data centers here to East Lyme, but the town wants to get ahead of the curve. They're putting together a subcommittee here to look at the pros, look at the cons, and decide how best to move forward. East Lyme is
how do people feel about it?
Beach town with a nice downtown. The people here don't want that scenery ruined. With data centers popping up all over, the town is putting together a subcommittee to learn more about them and if it would like to pursue.
Learn more about them? They should have already heard enough about them.
A moratorium or even a ban. Next door, Waterford had plans for a data center at one point. Recently, it all got shut down. Folks here in East Lyme are okay passing on it too.
Oh, I'm totally against it. Tell me what you want me to do to voice my opinion and I'll do it.
I think we better take a step back and take a look and review.
I'm not raising my hand and voting yes at this point.
Yeah, they already know what this shit is about. This shit is a disaster. And they don't want to be hurting their little community. Man, shit. Fuck that community. You know, yeah, I can tell they ain't nothing but damn crackers.
The subcommittee does have plans eventually to have public input, and here's people's 2 cents about what they think about these data centers. Your reporter live in East Lyme, Luke Hydash, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
Alright, anyway. Let's get to the next one.
Artificial intelligence is rapidly
whoa, that shit talking too fast.
Reshaping online dating. Artificial intelligence is rapidly
Actually, let me put it on normal speed.
Artificial intelligence is rapidly reshaping online dating. As established apps and new startups use AI to match users, write profiles, and reduce the need for endless swiping in a way, the shift also coming as dating platforms look to reverse declining user growth while promising faster, more personalized ways to find a partner. New AI-powered dating services are asking the users to hold voice conversations with AI to build detailed personality profiles before recommending matches. Established platforms are also expanding their AI features as they seek to improve match quality.
Of course, they threw that picture right. Let me see.
Are also expanding their AI features.
Yeah, that picture, that's the perfect picture because that hand gesture. But whatever.
As they seek to improve match quality and keep the users engaged. Tinder is testing AI to analyze users' photo libraries and suggest better matches. Bumble is reportedly developing AI matchmaking and plans to begin phasing out swiping in select markets later this year. Grindr is reportedly testing a premium AI subscription that summarizes conversations, recommends profiles, and predicts compatibility. The company says some users are paying hundreds of dollars a month because they believe the tools save time and improve their chances of making.
Oh my goodness, all that money spent just to find a match, that perfect match. Or I don't know.
Real world connections. Meta's Facebook dating also offering a free AI assistant reportedly that helps users write profile descriptions and recommends matches based on relationship goals, shared interests, age, or height. Meta says around 1 million people in the US and Canada use its AI dating assistant every day. Meanwhile, AI dating startups are emerging across the US, with some hosting in-person events to attract new users. Despite the growing use of AI, many singles remain cautious, saying technology may make dating more efficient, but cannot replace the human chemistry that ultimately determines whether a relationship will work.
Yeah, shit, sooner or later, nobody won't be bothered trying to meet up and date with link up with humans. Soon they're gonna be linking up with just AI. And AI gonna be they're gonna have AI lovers for male and females. Then they're gonna have robots. And that's the goal. And then shit. Anyway. Oh yeah, another thing too. Well, AI dating ain't gotta be like being physically there in a place. Then they can be dating one another through the superhighway, the information superhighway. Yeah, with a brain chip. That's how they're gonna make that possible. It'd be like a virtual reality dating simulation or experience. I'm just thinking of all kinds of shit. But anyway, let's get to this next one. This is one woman, her family being affected by a data center in Georgia.
Welcome back. Some homeowners in Georgia are being given an ultimatum to sell their homes, or the state will get this, take it to make way for AI data centers.
Taking it home. Ain't that some shit?
CBS News correspondent Skylar Henry has more.
I'm a single mom. I work hard for everything.
How do you put a price on a home you never intended to sell? One filled with more than 2 decades of memories.
I think I was 5 or 6 when this was built.
The yard where you buried your pets. The greenhouse that fed your family.
When you talk about what being on this property means to you, right? It's y'all's.
It's ours. It's our family. We belong here.
But Ansley Brown's childhood home likely won't be here much longer. That's because the state's largest utility, Georgia Power, says it needs the area to make way for a 35-mile-long transmission line.
Georgia Power has been here for as long as Ansley's mother has owned this property. It's just beyond the tree line. Now, with the expansion of this latest project, they're looking to take the 2.5 acres the house sits on.
Georgia Power says increasing demand has outpaced the capacity of its existing grid, and building a new transmission line requires acquiring more than 300 parcels of land, including residential properties.
What did your mom tell you she wanted for this property to be?
Generational wealth, true generational wealth.
That wealth is fucking gone. Y'all niggas ain't got that generational wealth don't exist anymore for you Edomites. Fuck no.
Was the idea, and now it's being stripped from us.
Yeah, good. Now you know how it feels. Cause I bet you Jake is like, yeah, bitch. Now you know how it feels. Now you know how I feel. We had the opportunity to have generational wealth, but our generational wealth got blown up and got set on fire by your people, and we got documents of that shit.
Georgia Power estimates 70 to 80% of the power on this.
Yeah, we got documents of that shit. We got proof, historical proof, and facts about that shit.
New line is expected.
We've been sabotaged
to help serve data centers. It says the remaining.
And then some of our wealth got snatched away from the Edomite woman. Especially the little cute looking one right there be like, rape. She'll scream out, rape on the brother. And then once he locked up or they killed his ass, then they take the land from him. Yep.
20 to 30% of power will serve the state's growing residential and commercial demand.
And now the shit's happening to these niggas.
Georgia Power told us that they feel as if they've done this process responsibly. What would you say to that?
Bitch got too many tattoos. Shit, you know what I feel. Yeah, well, you know what they say about a woman with too many tattoos. They goddamn fast.
Disagree. You can't tear down 35 miles of rural Georgia and it not hurt something or somebody. And to say that you're doing it in the name of data centers is a slap in the face to us, our community, our animals,
Brown's mother recently came to an agreement with Georgia Power to sell. Brown says if she didn't, the utility could have sought to acquire her property through eminent domain, a legal process that allows private property to be taken with compensation for projects determined to serve a public purpose.
All power generation starts.
And like that bitch right here, she don't give a fuck. A fellow Edomite.
Holly Lovett is a Georgia Power
I'm just doing my job.
Person.
Eminent domain is always, a last resort for us, and it's something.
Man, look at this shit. Look at this shit. Look at this shit. I mean, goddamn. This shows you Israelite. This is not your red. Man, let me get a scripture on this stuff. Matter of fact, let me get that one. Because I knew at this point, as soon as I get to these last 3 videos, I was going to get in some more scriptures. Because, yeah, I knew I was going to get into some scriptures at this point. And I knew I was going to get mad. Even though, I mean, yeah, I'm going to get this shit frustrates me because I'm just imagining putting myself in her I want to say shoes, in her situation or whatever. Because I heard many stories of you Israelites going through shit like this with these damn crackers. Micah chapter 2 verse 9. The women of, well, nah, I don't know about play. But I might as well play that because it happened to us. I wouldn't say she's an Israelite. No, not that woman. The one with the Edomite looking woman with the curls. Yeah, I wouldn't say I would say she an Edomite. But anyway, I'm just gonna read. Start from 9. The women of my people have ye casted out from their pleasant houses. From their children have you taken away my glory forever. Arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest, because it is polluted and shall destroy you even with a sword destruction. And that's for you Israelites. For you heathens, I ain't got nothing to say about it. Know why? Because he curses. Oh yeah, let me read that. Because if she eat him, I ate them curses are coming upon her. She probably, this shit has happened. Probably she had did something in her past life to cause a Jake to lose their damn home. A Jake family lose their home. Heck yeah, she probably was working as I don't know, banker. I don't know, somebody, and she held responsible for somebody getting their home taken away and shit. But whatever. Deuteronomy chapter 30 verse 7. Or one of them women who accused somebody of rape and then they took their property away. Or because another thing what they do with you is like they'll accuse you of being a drug dealer and you ain't even seen a damn ounce of cocaine or some shit. Never smoked marijuana. Never even smoked a cigarette. And they gonna say that, yeah, you're a drug dealer. We got to take your land. And they do that shit. They done that shit I remember it was a movie. It was based off this one Jake that was, he lost his ranch, his horses, he had a family, I believe. But everything he lost because these niggas that accused him of doing illegal stuff. And they just took everything from acres, hundreds of, I don't know how many acres of land, but it was a lot of acres. I mean, it was a lot, but it was like his shit. And they just took that shit away. And I'm like, these niggers, I hate these motherfuckers. That's why they getting their asses kicked now. Hey, Deuteronomy chapter 30 verse 7. And the Lord Yahweh, thy God, will put all these curses upon thy enemies and on them that hate thee, which persecute thee. So even your own people are fucking your asses up. And I'm talking about the higher ups are fucking up the lower level devils. Yep. But all these niggas about to get fucked up by the Lord.
We never want to do.
To us, it's that.
First, it's starting out with the lower levels. Then the higher ups going to be the last ones to get jacked up by the Lord. What does it say? No to data centers. Yeah.
It's literally $1 billion company stealing land from smaller people. People who
yeah, I know how that feels.
Can't fight back.
I mean, that hasn't happened to me, but I can hear many stories of people like me that going through that shit way before data centers even existed.
Have the money to fight Georgia Power.
So that's why a few months ago, Ansley took her story to TikTok.
My childhood home is being taken by Georgia Power.
She began sharing stories of others in similar situations.
What is it taking from her? Look behind me. It's taking this entire backyard.
What do you say to someone who will push back on any sort of offer that's out there and say, well, a price tag can't replace memories?
Oh gosh, it almost makes me emotional because I have.
Oh my goodness. Oh man, why don't y'all just cut a big old check then? How about that? They ain't giving. They what it is about money. Shit. It's about money. Memories and shit. Man, please.
Those memories in like my house, and I get how deep
They be like, shit, they'll forget all those damn memories. It'd be like, nigga, just a house. We'll make more memories here in somewhere in another area in Georgia.
personal people's homes are. I would just say that we see you and we hear you. And
I was gonna say, fuck you. I don't give a fuck about your memories, nigga. Take the check or just get mowed over or get bulldozered over. Cause that's what they basically gonna do.
we want this process.
She says, I thought she was gonna say, we want this property.
To be respectful and transparent.
Yeah. Oh, that reminds me. Never trust thy enemy, for they iron rustle swords they wickedness. And it ain't just Esau doing that, but Sheshaw. Never trust. Even the Shedemite pulls this crap. Ecclesiasticus chapter 12, verse 10. Never trust thy enemy, for his iron rustle swords his wickedness. Though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him. In this case, her, because she's talking. So let's just say her, but I don't really want to change anything out of the scriptures. But and thou shalt be unto him as if thou hast wiped in a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust has not been altogether wiped away. Yeah, and she trying to sound like, oh, I can relate with you, sister. My sister, fellow Edomite sister, that yeah, you're losing your home. You don't want to lose your memories, and I don't give a fuck. Get the fuck on, bitch. Get the fuck out of here before we send the bulldozer over and mow your ass down. Your house with you in and your kids in it. Shit, and your pets in it. Shit. Cause that's what hey man. This the world we living in. Now the Edomites are suffering.
And that is
and that shows you this shit is coming to an end. The lower level Edomites are suffering, and they show you, hey, the higher up's gonna be next.
Ultimately benefit you.
Brown doesn't buy that. While she knows it's too late to save her home, she says she doesn't want to see this happen to anyone else.
Wait a minute. Damn. I thought they looked fucking alike. I thought it was her talking. It's her that's talking. What the fuck? I'm like, wait a minute. I thought it was her. It turned out it's her. Yeah, they look damn near alike. Anyway, I was confused. Like, who is who?
My mom wants an apology. She wants an apology from Georgia Power. That's it.
And it's because of how.
So she the one that ain't taking this shit.
She feels as if she's been treated.
Yeah. I mean, for an entire year, they have bullied her, and there is no sorry. So that's what we want. We want an apology from Georgia Power.
Such important reporting there from us.
Man, they want a bigger check too. They want an apology and they want a bigger check, because this check they are offering, the offering they were giving to them ain't enough, nigga. They want like $1 million, because now these days new houses cost a house that used to be $200,000 now it's $500,000. It ain't just the house but the property too. So they want about $1 million just in case before the damn prices go up some more. But either way, whatever. All this shit about to go and be destroyed. Let me get another scripture. I've been talking a whole lot. Hey, I was talking about how they been, how they own people treating each other. I mean, how the higher ups, the Edomites, are treating the low level that was taking their home and shit. Ecclesiasticus chapter 14, verse 5. He that is evil to himself, to whom will he be good? Yeah, because they screwing over they people. Shit. What you think they gonna do to you? And here's another one. Ecclesiasticus chapter 10, verse 3. The unwise king destroyeth his people. Yeah, and they kick them out of their home. Let me get to that too. I really didn't have to read both of them too, but I just felt like it. Micah chapter 2, verse 1. Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice, because it is in the power of their hand. They planning on taking people home so they can expand their power grid. Not to give more electricity to the people, but to give more electricity to the data centers. That's it. And they wanna use the power. You know, they ain't studying you people. No. and they cover fields and take them by violence, and houses, and take them away, so they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage. Now you Edomites about to experience, y'all already experiencing this how you can say, y'all experiencing this right now that Jake been experiencing for many years or decades, damn near centuries. Shit. Well, once we started after what was it, after the slave plantation shit, and we had to go through that, what is it, the Reconstruction. Yeah, we was building up, and then Esau comes and knock it on down, or blow it up, or burn it up, because them niggas don't want us to have anything, and they want to be on top. Shit, fucking niggers. But now the Lord's fucking you niggas up. So how you like that? Let's get to the next one. And that's just starting with the low level devils. Soon the higher ups, you gonna, hey man, y'all gonna feel them when the kingdom is here.
There's a growing backlash nationwide against data centers, the massive facilities needed to power AI. And now, for the first time, one state is hitting pause. New York Governor Kathy Hochul signed an executive order to delay the building boom. Kelly.
Delay it, but they still gonna have it go forward.
Bill Grady is here with more. Kelly, good morning.
Good morning to you. All right, so New York has definitely taken the strongest stance by far, but more than a dozen other states are considering similar pauses, while some proposed bans have failed in a handful of states. And this growth in data centers has raised serious questions about who bears the burden in the AI race.
We have no choice but to address these challenges created by these massive facilities.
The latest battle in the war against data centers, warehouse-like buildings filled with servers that power artificial intelligence. New York is now the first state to temporarily ban new large build-outs. Governor Kathy Hochul says she instituted the one-year moratorium so regulators...
Because they ain't got enough, well, they probably got enough land to, but they just won't be out in the, like a... They could build a data center that's vertical. Because what is vertical? Up? Yeah, a tower. Yeah, they got data centers built like towers.
Leaders can write tougher rules. Protesters have...
Most of these data centers being built in rural areas. And they're not really like built like towers. They're built like a warehouse.
Voiced concern about increased electricity and water usage, along with rising utility costs.
And poison. They poison the air, of course the water, the land. Goddamn, the vibe is putting out, the frequencies is putting out from all that shit is jacking things up.
New York will require data centers to either produce their own energy or pay a premium to tap into our grid.
A CBS News analysis of water usage...
Even a grid? What about the water though, still?
Found that by 2028, data centers could use at least 469 billion gallons each year. For context, that's about a third of the water Americans used for showers in 2023. There are more than 4,000 data centers nationwide, with rural southern areas expected to see the most new development.
Who does that?
And let me see, 4,000 plus data centers. Let me see. Show me a list of all the countries that have data centers and the number amount. Now. Wait, goddamn, what the fuck? Show me a list of all the countries and the numbers of data centers they have in their country. Yep, there we go. United States, 4,000 plus, but 4,423. UK, 555. Germany got 523. Blah, blah, blah. China, of all places, with AI surveillance and all that shit, they only got, and that's a big ass country, 394. But why does America have so many damn, and Canada, they above 288. But how come United States got 4,423? I guess that gonna be the hub of all data centers, cause I'll be thinking that shit. Is Babylon gonna be the hub for all data centers? Probably. I mean, goddamn, America's like a big ass trash can. It's a fucking a nuclear waste site / trash landfill, all kind of shit. It's like it's a trash can. The United States is like a trash can full of garbage. Baby diapers, even adult diapers, used condoms with stuff in it. What else? Syringes with drugs, bag, you know, all that shit. Crack pipes, porno magazines that the pages stuck together. What else? I mean, United States is filled with it's just shell casings or bullet shell casings, you know. They've been already been used. What else? I mean, shit. Pills. I mean, we already got drugs and, you know, syringes and such. I mean, that trash can in America is just an American trash. That trash can is filled with a whole lot of shit. Yeah, they're just using it as using a trash can as a symbol of America. And showing, yeah. Anyway, but now, whatever.
Public think is picking up the tab or the broader cost for these data centers?
They largely see it falling on the cost in the form of higher electricity, cost in terms of the quality of community life, the noise, the effect on water use. And that's why we're seeing government officials all across the country trying to backtrack and calibrate their positions to more effectively address that, especially in a midterm election year.
All right, so of course this begs the question, Kelly, why are technology companies and states still pushing ahead to build these?
Well, I mean, they need the power for the AI, but one of the arguments that they say is it does bring more jobs and tax revenue to some of these
That's
developing
bullshit. Why they keep saying this shit?
communities that these data centers are being built on. For example, Meta actually has a program where they train workers to build these data centers, and then they'll have the skills.
And build the data centers, but then
skills of an electrician or a plumber in the future. The other argument is a national security one.
But they only building the data centers, they creating jobs that way. But once they done build it up, where the jobs gonna be at when they finish? There ain't gonna be hardly nobody working in no bitches.
We are in a deadlock with a race with China, and we cannot let them win. And so these politicians, they're balancing this.
Wait a minute, wait. See, Fox News pushing this shit, and these motherfuckers got the same script notes to say the same shit too. China's at lead with data centers, so we got to be in a data center race too. And oh yeah, China's in lead with the microchip implants, the brain chips, so we got to be in lead with China. We got to race against China before they get their brain chips. Get the fuck out of here.
The skills of an electrician or a plumber in the future. The other argument is a national security one. We are in a deadlock with a race with China, and we cannot let them win. And so these politicians, they're balancing this fight for global dominance with very real issues that their constituents are facing. If your utility costs are going up in rural Georgia, you don't care what's going on in China. They have not figured out how to message that. Could be a flashpoint in the midterms.
Yeah, but they gonna do it anyway. Fuck the message, because the earth is getting in the hands of the wicked. The people don't like it, fuck it. We'll send people out there to protect our the data centers. Hey, they got them foreign troops. They'll have foreign troops protecting them data centers. Heck yeah. And AI robots, drones. Oh yeah. Yeah. They'll have that too.
The truth is coming out. People are not going to be happy when they see this.
No, this is a data center because when you look at the drawings, you see the building is full of server racks.
When is a data center not a data center? Well, it may be when the public starts to object to data centers.
Disk Drive in San Jose, Google is creating a massive new research facility called Meadow Point. Construction has already begun on a large building that Google insists is not a data center.
Wait till you guys see some of the stuff that I dug up. Not going to be happy. What if I told you that the UN is already warning the world that these data centers will drink more water than billions of people? What if I told you that they're finding loopholes to get around all the conservation laws and everything else? It's already happening, and a lot of you guys know. Water consumption. You guys aren't going to be able to have as much water. Turn off your water. Power consumption. Turn off your lights. Rolling blackouts, because our data centers are going to need your power also. This is getting bad way too fast. Important information that most definitely affects you coming right up. All right, guys, welcome back. I've got so much information on this. Like, I could probably do 5 videos, but let's see how you guys react to this first one and tell me if you guys want more, and I'll drop another one with equally as much different information that supports the concern regarding these data AI centers. First, I want you to watch this clip. It is a plethora of information that kind of gives us some insight on how these huge mega facilities are skirting around everything that we've put in place to give them guidelines to stay in line, because a lot of America is already feeling the effects of the loss of water, the loss of power.
No, this is a data center because when you look at the drawings, you see the building is full of server racks.
When is a data center not a data center? Well, it may be when the public starts to object to data centers.
Disk Drive in San Jose, Google is creating a massive new research facility called Meadow Point.
And isn't that true? We start raising a fuss because it's hurting the people as far as cutting down our power, cutting down our water, even in drought areas. And so what do? Well, they're going to change what they're called to get around every restriction that has been put on them.
When is a data center not a data center? Well, it may be when the public starts to object to data centers.
Disk Drive in San Jose, Google is creating a massive new research facility called Meadow Point. Construction has already begun on a large building that Google insists is not a data center. But that's not what it looks like to Kelly Abreu.
When I looked at the city documents, they did not list it as a data center. They listed it as a large energy user. But this is a big project, and this part of the project is a data center.
Abreu is a retired engineer and co-founder of a conservation group called Mission Peak Conservancy. He was intrigued by reports of Google's plans and began looking deeper into them. But he was confused when the buildings were listed as a research and development facility.
Yeah, and these devils trying to be slick. At least Satan should get an advantage of us for we're not ignorant of his devices self. Even his own people seeing this is bullshit.
And I said, no, this is a data center because when you look at the drawings, you see the building is full of server racks and 250 megawatts, 500,000 square feet almost. That's about 500 watts per square foot. Once you put that much energy into a building, you can't put people in there. There's no room for people. When that much energy has to only go into equipment and then cooling.
The plans show the two buildings filled with uniform columns of equipment and large cooling towers. But to Abreu, the real tip-off was the proposed power substation on the site. 250 megawatts, more than 2.5 times bigger than any data center proposal currently on the books with the city of San Jose. It's no secret the city is enthusiastic about data centers when much of the state and nation have growing concerns about their demands for power and water.
They have said that San Jose wants to be the data center capital of Silicon Valley, of the Bay Area, of the state, really.
Abreu thinks the city may be purposely looking the other way when it comes to their own regulations.
I think that they're trying to bypass the rest of the environmental review, so they don't have to go through in looking at energy use, water consumption, noise, and other environmental impacts.
Simply because they're not calling it a data center?
Yeah.
The very term data center has become politically charged, but Abreu wonders why there would be such concerns about following the rules surrounding them.
That hasn't been a problem for all the other data centers. California is building a lot of data centers, and you don't need to hide them.
Isn't that something? So people start raising a fuss. Parameters start getting finally put into place. So what do? They go to the cheat sheet, figure out how to get around. Now they're naming these things that don't even have to get looked into. And remember, he said this one happens to be 2.5 times bigger than the biggest. Dirty dogs. And it's true, look at this. I looked up an article and it says Texas water plan ignores data center surge. Lone Star state officials scrambling to get ready for projects that serve artificial intelligence, but draft water outlook skips subject. And you guys don't have to look far. I mean, just search it right here. The Guardian, majority of the U.S. new AI data centers to be built on drought-hit land. They're still going to build. They're still going to make them. Texas water plan ignores data center surge. Yep, we read an article on that one. California will soon have more than 300 data centers. Where will they get their water? They're already telling Americans to conserve water so that these data centers can have more of it, and you've got mega ones going in 2.5 times the size that are getting to skip around all the rules. That's probably going to need 2.5 times the water that's not even getting factored in. Look at this article from the UN. The UN warns that AI will drink as much water as 1.3 billion people by 2030. The United
Ecclesiastes chapter 29 verse 21. The chief thing for life is water and bread and clothing and house to cover shame. But the point is the water. I wanted to read that part. Chief thing for life is water. And now AI data centers are sucking it up and spitting it out, and it's coming out looking like shit, looking bad with bacteria in it. And they expect you to drink that shit up. They use the rest of it.
Nations report warns not to focus solely on carbon emissions. The real impact of artificial intelligence also threatens global water reserves and land, placing additional pressure on regions that already have a crisis. Not just the UN, even here in the United States, right here from Time, AI could use as much water as 1.3 billion people by the 2030, the UN reports. You think this thing's a problem right now? I think it's going to be much worse. We've got the super El Nino about ready to crush us, and now we've got AI centers about to run us out of water and electricity. I know some of you guys have wrote in saying that you've gotten no notices to restrict your water use, stop watering your yards. A lot of the country right now, some of you are getting rain, some of you are not, but a lot of areas have record drought areas, and they're still building these centers. And that's not the only thing. They're going to suck up all the power. We've already had a power crisis. So how in the world are we supposed to justify all of the data centers if we already had a power issue? Look, this article right here from Newsweek. Teachers asked to turn off the lights in county packed with data centers. Henrico County employees, including school staff, have reportedly been asked to conserve electricity after the Virginia county, home to multiple data centers, said its power cost for government and school facilities would rise by nearly 25% starting July 1st, adding an estimated $5 million in the next fiscal year. We are already struggling with inflation, gas prices, the cost of food, and everything else. How in the heck are we going to be able to justify another 25% on our power and who knows how much on our water if we even have any left? Let me know what you guys think down.
For you Israelites, better seek the Lord and repent, do the best you can do. Because, man, it's going to get rough out here. And they going to be giving out those, I mean, how it's going to roll out? And I'm talking about the chip implant. And he talking about how we going to make it with all these high the bills and all that shit. Whether, you know, I guess UBI, well, I don't know. I know one thing, these niggas ultimately want the chip implant inside of people. Shit, they don't want to hear you crying or belly aching. They don't give a fuck. They want you microchip and or either die, pretty much. Man, this place sucks, man. This place sucks. That's all I got to say, man. A show. But seek the Lord by seeking his prophets and take heed of what to say and try to build a spiritual mental relationship with Yahweh Shema Shah by praying Yahweh Shema Shah, praising Yahweh Shema Shah, worshiping Yahweh Shema Shah, fearing Yahweh Shema Shah, and repenting to Yahweh Shema Shah. To all the men out there pushing this truth and nothing but the truth in the name, spirit, and the power of Yahweh Shema Shah. Keep on preaching, keep on teaching, keep your faith and trust on Yahweh Shema Shah. Stay humble. And for you few sisters out there taking heed, keep your faith and trust on Yahweh Shema Shah. Stay humble, stay in order with your man. If you ain't got no man, stay in order Yahweh Shema Shah. Peace and bless to the hopeful elect and all praises to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah. Shalom.